Hello, my name is Jenny Bierak, and I'm an astrologer and an energy healer. I work with the energy of Archangel Metatron, and today we are going to talk about the astrology of the new moon in Taurus, and then the rest of May leading up to the full moon in Sagittarius on May 29th. So, in that period of time from the 15th of May to the 29th of May, we have got Uranus changing signs, Mars changing signs, Venus changing signs, Mercury changing signs, and the Sun changing signs. That just gives you a little bit of the flavor. Anytime a planet moves to another sign, everyone feels that shift. There's a lot of shifts coming. When I asked Metatron to show me, what to say about the energy is happening these next couple weeks. Last time he had described it as a thrill ride. This time he showed me the part of the ride where, when it's going really fast and you start thinking like, gee, I really hope that the mechanics of this and the engineering is all worked out because it feels, but he showed everyone like having a good time. But it's definitely rambunctious energy. So I want to talk first, before we get into the new moon, about this shift of Uranus into Taurus. Uranus is electric. Uranus is like bottled lightning. It's also like a tornado. It's sort of like a tornado and lightning mixed together. And the only thing that you can say for sure about Uranus is that Uranus is going to bring change. Uranus is about revolution and revelation. It's about ingenuity and innovation and breaking free. It's like the unshackling energy. It doesn't like stagnation. It doesn't like the status quo. It does whatever is necessary to end the status quo. And when you have a Uranus transit and things change because of it, things will never go back to being the way that they were. It's a permanent change. Uranus is moving into Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules also Libra. Libra is about balance and equality. So with Uranus answering to Venus these next 8 years that we're about to go through, it'll be having to do things changing with the money, things changing with love relationships, things changing our value systems for the collective. It also rules agriculture. So there'll be changes in farming. So like new ways to farm that are better for the environment, because Venus represents like the earth, what we love about the earth, the fruits of the earth, the flowers, the beauty of the earth, the arts. So we could there'll be so many different things that come to us now with Uranus and Taurus. I would say that, over the next 8 years, we'll probably move more toward, if not completely, to digital money. And then in Taurus, it's making an aspect of a trine to all the other earth signs, to Virgo and to Capricorn. And Capricorn, we know, has got Pluto there and Saturn for a while. Even when Saturn leaves Capricorn in about 2 years now, about 2.5 years, he'll go into Aquarius, which is the sign of his ancient rulership anyway. But Capricorn rules banking. It rules all of the institutions that govern us. Government, institutionalized religion. Uranus coming in, bringing his energy into those aspects when he's going to aspect, Pluto and Saturn. And even if they're not in a tight aspect, they're still feeding, they're talking to each other, because these are the big boys. The outer planets are the ones that are governing like what's going on in the collective and in your personal natal chart as well. And for those shifts and changes, you want to look more to what's happening, what the status of your Uranus is in your natal chart. If you have it in, like, say, your 6th house, or you have it in a square to Saturn, even to Mars, to personal planets, that can be like a feeling of restriction and being unable to break free of those shackles. But Uranus is going to do whatever it can to free us up, to love a different way, to love ourselves a different way, And yeah, he's going to bring freedom to the earth. That's the best way to put it. And then as far as when he's aspecting, you know, the institutions like banking and institutionalized religion, it'll be like bringing revelation and revolution to those. Uranus is also astrology, so I'm sure that a lot more people will become interested in, at least the millennials are anyway, because they were born with Uranus and Aquarius. And I always laugh when I see the Facebook post talking about the kids, oh, these kids are going to revolutionize the world because Uranus is revolution and they were born with it in its sign. Uranus is also like Uriel, Archangel Uriel, is the same energy as Uranus, and now coming into the earth, I'm sure that he'll become a lot more common for people that, you know, talk about the angels and work with the angels. Uriel's got his finger, that's what I'm seeing, his finger on the pulse of what's happening with Uranus and Taurus. So with that new moon energy, new moons are always about initiation. It always brings an energy of initiation. The new moon is at 24 degrees of Taurus, and it will be answering to Venus, who is in Gemini. So at the time of the new moon, Venus will be in Gemini, answering to Mercury, who is in Taurus. This is what's called mutual reception. So even though she isn't in her own sign, the planet that she's answering to is in her sign. So it's basically like she's running the show. She doesn't really have to ask Mercury, you know, how this is going to go down with this new moon. She's in charge of this new moon. And she is in what's called a quincunx, which is an uncomfortable aspect in her in Gemini. She's making a quincunx aspect just sandwiched between where Mars is and where Pluto is right now. So her energy is feeding into that Mars-Pluto, and they are directing Jupiter in Scorpio. Jupiter is moving up into an energy that's called a trine with Neptune. So if you haven't started feeling sleepy yet, clear, cancel, delete this for everyone, but we're all going to be feeling pretty sleepy coming up. It's pretty soon here. We've got then 2 days later, Mars will move into, Mars is going to, I talked about this on my last video, but just before that new moon, Mars is going to be at the very last degree of Capricorn, and Uranus is going to be at the very last degree of Aries. So they're in that square. It's, you know, if you see the energies of the planets, like the way that they feed into one another, that's a harsher aspect. So normally you would say like this is a tense or a stressful aspect, and it is, but Uranus is answering to Mars. So Uranus and Mars have a lot to talk about. Uranus has been in Mars sign of Aries for the past 8 years. He's been sitting at that last degree for a couple of weeks now, or close enough to that last degree on my ascendant, by the way, so I would know. Makes it difficult to sleep. But they're having that chat, and then Uranus will tip into Taurus, and 2 days later on the 17th, Mars will tip into Aquarius. So even though so now Uranus is no longer answering to Mars, now Mars is answering to Uranus, who is answering to Venus. Then on the 20th, Venus will move into the sign of Cancer. Water and, you know, the things that we hold dear, our family line, our homes, like our actual home, and this home that we all live on. And when she moves into Cancer, then she's going to be answering to the moon. So that's on, actually, I'm sorry, did I say May 19th? I forgot my cheat sheet, so this is all off the top of my head now. May 19th, she's going to move into Cancer. So while she's in Cancer answering to the moon, you know, the moon moves very quickly. Every 2.5 days, she changes signs, and she makes several aspects as she goes through each sign. So we're going to be watching the moon to see what's going to happen with Uranus, because Venus governing Uranus is what's going to happen. Basically, the week of, right after she moves into Cancer then, she's going to have a conversation with the moon. The moon will be semi-sextile, which is like an energy of a pool cube hitting the pool ball. It's like a kind of like a little push forward. ping is what I'm hearing. Energy with the moon, and the moon will be in fire that day. And Chiron will be in aspect then. Mars will be at 0 degrees. Uranus will be at 0 degrees. All of them will be at 0 degrees, all having this very intense conversation in all of their aspects. And then later on in that week, Mercury is going to trine Pluto. The sun is going to be in Gemini, aspecting Saturn. The Venus will oppose Saturn. All of the energies, like for that week, day to day, when you just look like, oh, this is this day, this is this day, this is this day, and that's the week of like the 20th through about the 25th, really point to the markets. Mercury is, rules Gemini. The sun will have moved into Gemini on the 21st, and we're going to see a lot of stuff, fluctuations is what he's saying in the markets. So Uranus in Taurus wants to know, like, what's the value? What's this money? Is this just paper, or does this have some value? What's valuable to you? Is this worth staying in your life? Because if not, it's going to leave your life. And, with these energies, like the way he was showing me the thrill ride, you want to just be in the mode of like he's playing the song, Let It Happen, where you're just kind of going with the flow. You're just like moving along, everything out there might be like, like burning the house down kind of energy, but you are centered and grounded, and all is well with you because you know what's coming, and you know that this is the shift and the change that we've been waiting for. And then, so it looks like, I would say, like right after he moves in to Taurus, and then, Mars moves right into Aquarius. So that's almost the same kind of energy as Uranus and Aries, because Mars is in Aquarius, and Mars will be retrograde there. He doesn't leave. He's going to come back into Capricorn for a few days, but then, or I don't know, a couple weeks maybe, but he's going to stay in Aquarius until November 16th. I mean, that is unheard of. So the fact that Uranus is moving into Taurus, and then Mars will be answering to Uranus, who is answering to Venus. It's really like, when you look at it, it's like the divine masculine answering to the divine feminine is what it is. Uranus rules Aquarius, and Aquarius is the sign. It's an air sign, yes, but it's the sign of the water bearer. It's the sign of the people, like where we come in to build up the community, to build up all that is, where the earth is nourished, and he's saying ministered to. It brings like nourishment to the whole collective, and it does it, he's saying, by any means necessary. So we're just going to keep riding this ride. He's calling it a thrill ride. I heard Amanda Ellis calling it Helter Skelter. But when he showed me today, it was like that part on the thrill ride where, you're spinning so fast, and you start thinking like, oh, I hope they really knew what they were doing when they put this thing together. And, you get off the ride, you have a great time, and then, you're happy. You're all elated when you get off that ride. But the ride continues. And, also with this Mars is also in shadow now. Mars went into shadow about the 10th or the 11th of May. And he won't start his retrograde until June 27th. But this is a period of time up until June 27th when whatever we have initiated, we've taken steps forward to go forward. When Mars goes retrograde, those steps were missteps, or, there's not really any mistakes, but you might have to go back over something. So whatever it is that you want to start it now. Start it before June 27th, because you've got Mars backing you. You've got Uranus bringing change and freedom. Uranus will go back into Aries for a little bit at the end of this year, and that's, like right after Mars goes into Pisces. And then really we should start feeling relief, because Jupiter will move into Sagittarius. Will no longer be answering to that deep dark water of Scorpio to, you know, fire and transformation, the phoenix rising from the ashes, all that is Pluto or Mars, fire. He will move into his own sign in November, and Mars will move into Pisces, where, as one of my astrology teachers put it, Mars just kind of lays there when he's in Pisces. So anyway, it's going to be a really exciting 8 years that we have coming up. It's just so wild that the new moon is happening just a few hours before Uranus moves into Taurus. Remember to keep sending love into the earth to help, you know, help it to take in these energies. They're very intense. Sending love to the collective and to the earth right now is so needed and so necessary, and to yourself. And remember to take time to go within and, you know, take those, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, even if it's for a few minutes a day, because what's going on out there is a lot. And, you know, we'll see what happens then once Venus moves into Cancer water, because with that Jupiter trine Neptune, you know, Jupiter and Neptune Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, and Neptune is the modern ruler. It's kind of like that brother energy, like the Mars-Pluto relationship or the Saturn-Uranus relationship, where they both were rulers of the same sign. But when they're in trine like this, it's a lot of water. It's a lot of emotion, and it can spiral either, you know, it can work to your benefit or to your detriment, is what he's saying. If you focus on the negative when that aspect is going on, then you will very quickly spiral downward. But if you can focus on things that you're grateful for, the changes that you're happy to see, things going on in the world that are beneficial for all of us, new inventions coming out, there's going to be a lot to look forward to. This isn't just, yes, it's intense. But, you know, as he said, our souls didn't just ask to be here. Our souls were insistent that we be here right now for all of the exciting changes coming on. I'm excited to when, you know, Uranus is making those aspects to Capricorn, thinking about, you know, institutionalized religion just going by the wayside. We at least did that well with the millennials. They think for themselves. They're very into astrology and spirituality. They sort of almost let it go to the wayside now anyway. So anyway, very exciting time coming up for all of us, intense. And I wanted to mention with my website, people have been asking how my healings work with your natal chart. So what I do is I go into the light of creation. I do a meditation with my client, go into the light of creation, really become the light of creation, which is who, in essence, you truly are. I ask for help from Archangel Metatron, from the ancestors, and from the person's higher consciousness when I look at a natal chart to do the analysis of it. And then I just transmute the energies of the stories, because there's a lot of stories. Everyone's natal chart has stories where they were, you know, treated like they were of such great value. And then, you know, there's a lot of past like karma that it's all shown in your natal chart. And you can easily transmute those energies. A lot of astrologers, and I did as well, believe that, you know, it's a done deal. You came here, this is what you were given, and that's that. And that isn't true. The source of creation, the energy of the alpha and the omega, the energy that is unconditional love that we're all sparks of, can change anything. And as long as you're willing to forgive all of these things that have gone on, maybe even things that you're unconscious of because they happened in another existence and another lifetime, forgiveness is how you heal those things. So that's what I do with natal charts. My website is astrologyforascension.com, and my Facebook page is also Astrology for Ascension. I'm going to start doing more regular updates on my Facebook page so that, you know, because it takes so long to upload YouTube videos, just doing like little videos for the day, maybe drawing some cards, the same thing that I do with Metatron every morning. I'm going to start doing that on Facebook. And so I hope to see you there. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. You can email me at jennyb@astrologyforascension.com. Take care. Have a great 2 weeks, and I will talk to you again at the end of May. Namaste, everyone.